Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday, and welcome back to Hexagon Hacks. Stephanie will be leading today's session, but my name is Rebecca, and I just wanted to hop on and provide a quick introduction before Stephanie takes over. If you are new to our Hexagon Hacks series, just a quick overview. It's a weekly 15-minute series, and it's designed to help you get more comfortable and confident with Hexagon EAM. Each Wednesday through the end of the calendar year, we'll walk through tips, maybe some hidden features that you're unfamiliar about. We'll share practical best practices and answer common questions. And it's all going to be in this quick, focused format that hopefully you can put to use right away. Today is the last of our theme on materials and inventory insights. Next month, so starting next Wednesday on October 1st, we will be focusing on maintenance mastery. The first session will be highlighting the differences between PM schedules and maintenance patterns. So be sure to join if that interests you. And a couple of things to look forward to. So in November, we'll be focusing on system admin hacks and wrapping up the year with mobile and field productivity. So we will be posting a recording of this video after the session. So be sure to subscribe to the Digital Thinker YouTube channel so you are alerted when new content is published. And what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and dive in, and I will hand it off to Stephanie for today's topic, which is UOM versus UOP. Stephanie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Rebecca. And hi, everybody. Today, I'm going to talk about when it comes to setting up parts, the difference between the unit of measure, which is on your record view, and then unit of purchase, which is on your suppliers tab. And I don't know if anybody's ever used the unit of purchase or anything like that. So I definitely wanted to talk about what the differences are. I just got asked a couple weeks ago about this, and I thought that'd be a great topic. So unit of measure is how you actually do all your store transactions, issuing it from stores, your parts associated, your physical inventory. I just kind of listed out everywhere that you would use this on this slide. And unit of purchase is how your supplier actually sells that item. So there might be a different quantity based on how your supplier actually, sells it. If you go buy it, maybe it's 12 per case, but you only issue out once. I always think of Windex. Cleaning products are always the first thing to come to mind. I don't know how many of you guys know me or not, but for 10 years, I ran a stock room. So I definitely was that person who wish I would have known about unit of purchase. That would have saved me many orders that came in 12 cases versus one case of 12. So I just kind of want to give a little background. And the system does the conversion for you, but just so you guys are aware what the math is, it's just your purchase unit measure times the conversion rate equals how you would issue it from stores. All right. Any questions before I jump into an example of this and how it can be used? Okay. I'm going
Yes,
to take
looks
silence.
great.
Thank you. So I'll take silence as a yes. So, all right. So I have this part set up where it's by each. So I'm going to issue it out of stores by each. So this is where I will put unit measure of each, but you can also change that. And I don't know if you guys know this, once you actually do a transaction against a part, you cannot change the unit of measure on the record view. So once you set it up and once you start using that part and doing transactions or even adding a store, it takes away your ability to change that field. It's one of the fields in EAM you cannot change after it's been set up and being used. All right. So I'm going to go to Store tab. The only reason I'm going to Store tab is just to point out, if you do end up using unit of purchase, let's say my example of Windex, and you do have 12 per case, and you're using like min max, just something to look at that your min max reflects your unit of purchase. So I have it, because how I will actually issue it out will be by each. That would be that 12 that's in that case. So on min-max, I made 1 in 12. Because you want to make sure your min-maxes or your reorder level, if you're doing this with a store part, makes sense. So that way, when you actually go through the process of requisitioning and purchasing the item, you're getting the right quantity that you need. All right. And then supplier tab, this is where you would update the unit of purchase. So I just have one supplier out there right now, and I set it up by a case. So this is where the unit purchase, so this is how they would actually sell it to me. So you can update this, and if even though you have it set up, you can always change this after the fact. So let's say they no longer sell it by cases and maybe they change it. You have the ability to go back out and I'm going to keep this one case, but you have the ability to go change that information. And then how many of your unit of measures make up how you're selling it. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. So if I have one case and there's 12 individual items that I'll issue out, then my quantity per purchase is 12. Or let's say they sell in cases of 10. And you can see that my price will get reflected based on the information. So I'm going to hit 10. So now you can see that my price, this is my unit of purchase price. So how much does that actual case cost me? And then down here at my local price is where it breaks down my transaction cost. So how much, when somebody goes to issue out that part, is it going to cost us? So I want to make this back to 12, but you can change that. You could have every supplier have something different. So if I can buy this from my first company, but then if I go to Granger, and let's say it's $125, and then again, I'm just going to do case because that's the easiest one. But if if you're buying oil and it's a drum and you're doing gallons because you only issue out by gallons out of that drum, but you have to purchase it by a drum, you could put that in there and separate it out. All right, so this one, maybe they only put 10 in there. You can see that it does $12.50. And then you can change that. So it doesn't have to be, when you order, you can change it by supplier. It gives you that freedom. Or maybe you have Fastenal and you buy it, maybe you just buy it by each. You don't have a different unit of measure. So you can leave this blank and just say, hey, it's going to cost me $15. So it gives you that freedom to change it by supplier. So I have Lennox as the preferred supplier. So I'm going to go reorder and show you how you see that information. So I have 0 in stock right now, just so you guys are aware. So I'm going to go and I'm going to go to process, generate requisitions, and then I'm going to go through the process of reordering it. So you can see I have my one item and there's 12 of them that I'm requesting and they're $12.50 each in my total value. So you can see that information at the requisition level. So generate requisition, and then when I actually go to my requisition, it'll be at the same information. Right. So this is my automatic reorder. And if I look at the part, it's showing it by the unit of measure one. So it's showing me as my 12 versus seeing the one case. So this is important for if you're ordering and your min-max does not match, or you're ordering where, let's say, hey, I do have 2 on the shelf that we just found. I'm going to show you what happens if I don't do the exact unit of purchase, or how many I actually have in that case. Right? I'm going to quickly approve. And then I'm just going to quick jump to the purchase order. So you can see what happens if you order a different value than what it is set up for. I'm going to go to my purchase order. All right. So when I go actually to look at parts, you can see I'm not ordering a full case. So depending on your process, if you have to go back through the approval process or anything like that because you're adjusting your value, that could, one, make it take a little bit longer, or two, just kind of be a pain. So this one, I'm going to do one, and it's going to automatically update my requested quantity. So that's one thing to think about if you do move to where you're using unit of purchase and it's different, is just making sure that your values match. All right, I'm going to hit submit. And then, oh, one more thing I want to point out here is that you can see both the purchase quantity and the requested quantity. So if either of these get updated, it will automatically update the other information. So again, if I would go to 2 cases, it's going to update the requested quantity. Okay, I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to approve this. Okay. And then I'm going to go out and then do the receipt. So I'm going to go out to materials, transactions, PO receipts. I'm going to paste in my purchase order. And then some people use packing slip, and then some people just go straight to active lines. I'm going to do packing slip so you can see both the unit of measure and the unit of purchase. So you can see my outstanding quantity is by the unit of purchase. So maybe I only got one in, it's 12. So this allows you, maybe they set a partial case because that's what they had. This allows you to update that information. I'm going to hit submit. And then I'm going to record my packing slip. And then when I go to active lines, this only shows it right here, where it only allows you to update by your requested quantity or your receipt quantity, unit of measure quantity. All right. And then I'm just going to go through that process and approve the part. So when you actually look at the part transaction, if I come over here and I look at my transactions, you can see it's all in that unit of measure. Oops, sorry, someone has a question. Oops, thank you. Something else to watch out for is if your unit of measure is something like foot and your UOP is roll. Yes, your quantity per UOP conversions can get funky. Oops. How to add the same supplier, different packaging, same materials, 6-pack, 12-pack. Let's go see if it allows me to do it. Let's see if it gives me any errors. So if I do Granger again, and let's do a case is 5, it gives me, I'll do $100, just do random numbers. So it doesn't let you do that if you have, won't let you add the second supplier for that one. Does that happen a lot for the same part where you have different quantities that you buy the same part for? That's spread off in different pricing. Okay. That might be, and now I'm going to ask Rebecca to lean on her for a little bit. Rebecca, do you have any recommendations if somebody wants to do a 6-pack, 12-pack for the same part, besides just creating a second part for it? Is there anything you can think of that might help out?
I mean, you can always manually adjust it on the PO, but if you wanted to kind of retain that supplier catalog information and pricing information in EAM, because we are limited to the one supplier per, the relationship between a supplier and part is 1-to-1. In that regard, I can't add another supplier. It would require adding a second EAM part. Otherwise, it would be, I would say maybe do your lowest common denominator on the part record, and then you can always update it on the purchase order.
That is 15 minutes, and 15 minutes goes really fast.
It sure does.
So I know that was really quick through the whole process, but does anybody have any questions or anything else that we can address while we're still here on the call?
Perfect.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and I think just to reiterate what Stephanie showed, it's important to know that the requisitions are in terms of the UOM. The receipts ultimately are in the UOM. Sometimes your requisitioners aren't going to know the unit of purchase, and that's okay. They can requisition in terms of the UOM, and then the buyer can always make sure that the quantity per UOP aligns with the total, number of units being purchased and how that calculates back into the UOM. So great information. Just a quick wrap up here. Let me just show my screen real quick. As Stephanie mentioned at the beginning of her session, is once a transaction has been recorded for a part, the UOM cannot be changed directly. One thing that is possible is, and I would call this a workaround, but basically creating a new part with the correct UOM. So if you're interested in learning more about that, check out our YouTube channel. There's a video on changing part numbers in Hexagon EAM. And then also just a quick mention. So regarding UOMs is you can now have local UOMs, meaning UOMs designated at the store level. Whatever's designated on record view is going to be how the material transactions are recorded. But definitely check out the video on specifying local UOMs if you're curious to learn more about that. But yeah, looking forward to seeing everybody back next week as we transition into maintenance mastery, and we'll kick things off talking about maintenance patterns and PM schedules. So thanks again, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.